Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who, Warhammer, Assassin's Creed, Fallout, Final Fantasy, and Spider Man later this year should be all of the universes beyond we've had over the last couple years. And let me know in the comments, of course, if I missed anything. And I'm not talking about the secret layer specific ones like I know SpongeBob, but that's just like a secret layer of like whatever it was, like 6, 7, 8 cards. I'm talking about full sets. But what I find really interesting about all that is that 3 of those sets are video game related. You could even tie in Warhammer, but I think that's more about the minis and the stories than any kind of games. But I just find it interesting that we've got novels, television show, tabletop minifigure game, comic books, and then 3 video game franchises. So that shows that there must be something about that it's able to translate video game mechanics into magic mechanics easier than just making something from scratch from like Doctor Who. And then also it might be easier to get the IPs for video games versus larger things like full-on novel franchises or television franchises with people's faces and everything, getting the rights to their likeness. So in that vein, what are some video game franchises that you're hoping might get pulled in? There's so many, but what kinds would also work within Magic? Personally, I'd like to see BioShock, I think would work really well. With all 3 games, there's enough, story there and characters that you can probably make some really interesting, plus all of the not magic, but the items that you can use there with like the bee swarm and all kinds of crazy stuff. I think that would lend really fun and funny into Magic. One of my favorite franchises, Parasite Eve, would be a lot of fun because it's modern times, granted, but we've got technology in other franchises of Magic. We also had like Walking Dead, which again I didn't count in my original listing because that and Stranger Things were the testing of Universes Beyond, and they were just little secret layers. They weren't full on sets with like tons of cards. But what other kind of video game franchises do you think would really work? I bet maybe Gears of War, maybe something like that. Something with a lot of like monsters and fighting. We could certainly go into other RPGs like Final Fantasy. So we've got Legend of Dragoon. That was a fun one in the day. Things like that. So let me know in the comments. I'm just curious as to what you'd love to see get pulled in video game wise into Magic the Gathering, since it clearly is a stronger line within the Universes Beyond for some sort of reason. Let me know. See you next time.